Islam has a very unique status, and again, this is an area of idolatry, in that the Islam is definitely not idolatry. Muslims worship one God, absolutely worship one God. There are Christians who make claims about Islam that they worship moon gods. That's absolute nonsense. Muslims worship one God. They're very clear about that in Surah 2, 163. It's very clearly outlined in the Quran that there is no else, just one God, and therefore Islam has a unique status in that they are not idol worshippers at all. They worship one God. That doesn't mean Judaism and Islam are the same, but there are enormous differences. In Jewish law, a Jew is not allowed to even walk into a church. A Jew, let's say, who's visiting Italy and wants to just walk into a church just to maybe admire its architecture or to see its flying buttresses, it's absolutely forbidden to even compliment it. You're not allowed to even talk about it. Lo yisham al picha, the Torah says. A Jew can't enter a Trinitarian church. A Jew can ask a mosque, would you mind if, when you're not using the mosque, if we can use it to pray our morning prayers? Can we borrow your mosque? Can we pray? And we're absolutely permitted to, because it's not a place of idolatry. They worship one God. So that's very important. So Islam is absolutely not idolatry, and most of Christianity, most Christians are worshiping idolatry because they are Trinitarians. I should say as a caveat, I don't know if this helps, but there are some Christian denominations that absolutely reject the doctrine of the Trinity, forcefully. Christadelphians, for example, Unitarians, for example, J Witnesses, for example, they utterly reject the doctrine of the Trinity, and they consider it complete idolatry, incidentally. So, absolutely, if you meet a Christadelphian, these people are devout, they're very religious Christians. They absolutely reject the notion that Jesus was equal to the Father. That is completely unacceptable. That is clear. So therefore, technically speaking, a Jew could go into a Unitarian church. I'm not saying this is the biggest mitzvah in the Torah, but that they don't worship idols. That's important.
Thank you. I think that was a useful addition and clarification on the question. And that prompts me also to add that despite what I've said, Muslims, by this constant repetition of the phrase that Muhammad is a servant and messenger of God, have drilled into their minds that yes, there is only one God. And this has remained universal, and it's something that unites Muslims. It unites Muslims in the sense that no matter where we go, we know that the Muslims are only worshipping the one God. So let's say I go into a masjid in the other side of the world, Malaysia. When I go in there, I feel comfortable. I know that they're praying to the same God. I don't have a fear that maybe they're worshipping something else. And the fact that we worship only the unseen creator of the heavens and the earth makes our places of worship welcoming to people of other faiths as well. See, suppose, for example, we followed the ancient Egyptians and we had like a crocodile representation of God. Now, we have it here, and we are bowing to this crocodile. So somebody comes in, whether Jew or Christian, they're going to say, no, we don't worship the crocodile. Even a Hindu person with many gods and many different representations may come in here and see us bowing before the crocodile and say, I can't join you guys because I don't pray to a crocodile, right? So now, on the contrary, when people come in here and they join us in the prayer, we pray together, all in a row, and there are no representations. Who do you guys worship? We worship the unseen creator of the heavens and the earth. Almost everybody believes in that one. So even Jews and Christians can come and join us in our prayers, and it will not be antithetical to their faith. It will not be. See, if a Muslim goes and worships in a place where they have an idol, the Muslim feels right away, I can't do this because they have an idol, and as a Muslim I can't worship an idol, right? Same thing, if we have an idol here, a Jewish person comes in, the Jewish person says, even if you're worshiping the true God, but you have an idol to represent that God, sorry, we can't join you. But if the Jewish person comes in here and sees that we have no representation of God, we're only worshiping the one true unseen creator of the heavens and the earth, they can join us in prayer. Next Saturday, we'll have a program here, and there are other peoples of other faiths coming to join us in that program, and we suggested to them, as we have done tonight, that we'll have the Isha prayer earlier, so that when they come, it's only lecture time. They said, no, keep the prayer time as it is at 7 o'clock, because we want to come in and join in the prayer. So this was specifically said by a Christian pastor. And why he wants to join in the prayer, and what would allow him to join in the prayer, the fact that we do not worship a foreign god, and we don't have any representations of God, no crocodiles here. Only the unseen creator of the heavens and the earth. So if a Christian comes and worships with us, that Christian can feel that I'm just doing the same thing which Jesus did. Jesus fell on his face and prayed to the unseen God. I'm falling on my face and praying to the unseen God. I'm not doing anything different. I have not compromised my faith in any way, because no specific form of prayer has been prescribed for Christians. They have been told to pray, Our Father who art in heaven, but that means too that they're praying to the Father, not to Jesus. See, in that prayer. So, but it doesn't mean that every time you pray to God, you have to recite this prayer. You might recite some other prayer in some other words. Maybe you're going to write an examination. You're saying, God, please give me success in this examination. So you're saying different words on different occasions, not necessarily specific words of prayer. And since Jesus prayed in that way and Muslims are praying in this way, Christians can feel at home praying along with Muslims. So yes, the fact that we have repeated this formula again and again has made it very clear to Muslims all and sundry that there is only one God, and that God is not any human being. The Prophet Muhammad is only a human being. He is not God. We do not worship him. We worship the God whom he worshipped, the God whom Jesus worshipped, the God whom Moses worshipped, and so on.